Chapter 14. I named him Friday. He was a strong, tall man, and I believe he was about 26 years old. His smile was kind, and his eyes were full of life. His hair was long and black. When he had finished sleeping, he walked out of the hole to find me milking the goats. Running to me, he again put his head on the ground and my foot on his head, showing that he would follow me because I had stopped the others from killing him. I named him Friday and said my name was Robinson. He quickly learned to say my name and to say words like yes and no. We stayed there that night, but the following morning I returned with him to the beach house. When we were going by the place where he had buried the other men, he made signs that we could dig them up and eat them. I showed him that I was angry at this and made signs to show that I would be sick at eating these men. He did not ask again to eat them, but he followed me to the house. At the top of the hill, I looked through the telescope to see that the boats were not on the beach. I wanted to take a closer look. Giving Friday a white sword and one of the guns to carry, I walked with him down to the part of the beach where the men had been. My blood turned cold on seeing heads and hands and other pieces of bodies on the beach. But Friday made nothing of it. By signs, Friday was able to make me understand that the people had been killed and cooked. 3 other people, and he was to be the last one. His people had been fighting a war with another very big group of people, and many of his people had been made prisoners. The other group had separated into smaller groups, with each group taking some prisoners to different places to eat them. I showed Friday that he should put all the body pieces together in one place and burn them. I could see that he was wanting to eat some of the pieces himself, but I showed that I was very angry and very sick at his plan to do this, and I would punish him very strongly if he tried. By this I was able to teach him to control his taste for eating people. After finishing this, we returned to the beach house, and I worked on making some clothes for Friday, who had no clothes. It was not easy for him to wear clothes at first, but he was happy to learn, because he wanted to look like me. At first I put up a tent for Friday outside the fence, and I put timber across the door to stop him from coming into my room through the hole in the cliff. I put all the weapons in my room with me because I was afraid that he would try to kill me when I was sleeping. But I did not need to do this, for he was always very loving towards me, like a son to his father, and he showed me over and over that he would die for me if needed. This made me question the reason God hides the truth about his love from some people like these wild people when they are as able and willing, no, they are more willing, to learn from him to do good and to show love as we who have the Bible are. It made me think that we who have all these teachings from God do not use them near enough. At times I think I pushed too far in questioning God and trying to tell him what is right. In the first place, if God is loving and kind to all people, he must have a way to teach these people, and he must judge them by and ask them to follow rules that we do not know. And in the second place, we did not make God, and we cannot say how he should do things. If he chooses to help some people and destroy others, he does not need to ask us before he can do that. I started teaching Friday all that I believed was important for him to learn if he was to work with me. The most important job was to teach him to talk to me in English. I liked doing this because he was a very happy, hard-working, and enthusiastic student. He was most happy when he was able to understand what I was saying, or when I was able to understand what he was saying. With Friday as a friend, I was happy to stay on the island. But I could not stop my fear of wild people returning to kill us. 2 or 3 days after returning to the beach house with Friday, we were out walking when I told him to watch me. I could see a female goat with 2 young goats, and I pointed my gun at one of the young ones before shooting it. Friday did not understand that I had been shooting at the goat, and the sound of the gun filled him with fear. He lifted his coat to see if I had put a hole in him like I did to the other wild man, and he dropped to the ground in front of me, hugging my knees and saying many things in his own language to ask me not to kill him. I lifted him by the hand, laughed, and pointed to the dead goat. He walked over to the goat and studied it to see how it had died. A short time later, I pointed to a big bird in a tree and with signs showed Friday that I was planning to kill it with the gun. He watched the bird this time and could see it fall after the explosion from the gun. He was afraid again, but this time he started talking to the gun. I later learned that he believed the gun was able to choose who should live and who should die, and he was asking it to not kill him. We returned to the beach house to cook the goat in some water and to eat it together. Friday liked the meat, but could not understand my reason for putting salt on it. He said with signs that the salt was not good to eat. He put a little in this mouth and showed that he hated the taste. I did the same with a piece of meat that did not have salt on it, but I could not teach him to like salt. The following day we cooked some of the goat on an open fire, the way that the wild people cook other people. When Friday tasted the goat meat cooked in this way, he was very happy with the taste and made signs to tell me that he would not eat meat from people again because the goat meat was better. Friday quickly learned how to make flour from the grain and bread from the flour, making my work easier by doing this for me. I planted a bigger piece of ground with grain seeds, and Friday could see from this that more work was needed for 2 people, and he was happy to do